So I think the University of Toronto went online second week of March or something like that, or right after the second week of March. So we've been online for almost a month now, and we're pretty much done with the semester. So uh, we had the professors had 2 days to put our classes online, like completely transition from in person to online over the weekend, and it was, oh my God, there's so much work involved. So, I mean, I've been doing that, trying to finish out classes, and that's, it's really different doing it online. It's as a student, it's really different, but as a professor, it's really, really different. I think a lot of professors, I know I do, feed off of the energy that students bring into the classroom. Like, even the quiet students who are there paying attention, all of that energy feeds into a professor's ability to give lecture or respond to students or hold workshop, anything like that. So all of that is just gone now. And it's just, I'm interacting with the screen, trying to teach through it. And it's totally different. They don't train you for it. I was never trained for it. I hope that by fall, all of this is over and that I'm supposed to teach a 100+ student lecture in the fall. And I don't know how I would do that if it was online. So we'll see.
That sounds like a difficult way to.
Yeah, it's 100% lecture with 2 to 3 graduate student TAs. So like, it's just, it would be a mess if it was online, but hopefully it won't be. But mostly I've been teaching. I've been writing poetry because my larger project that I'm working on right now, which is a novel, I started in August on the first draft, and I had been doing research for a couple of years before that. So I had all this research. It's a novel set in 2004 in Scarborough, which is a neighborhood of Toronto. So Scarborough is where I teach. So it's actually really convenient because my novel is set like 5 minutes from the campus I teach at. So it worked out really nicely. It was just a really like a stroke of luck that I got the job at the same time that I was starting to work on the novel. It was just a weirdly serendipitous moment. But so I had all this research. I started the novel in August, and I'm about halfway through the first draft. So it's going slowly. But while I find that while I'm teaching, it's a slower writing,
I'm sure
and
also at a time where you're in this weird transition and trying to figure out, all the technology and teaching online and stuff. So I'm sure that slows you down.
Yeah, it definitely. And we've I've been talking to a lot of my writer friends about productivity and whether or not, some people are being really productive, they're writing a lot, and some people just can't, like are lying on the couch under a blanket watching bad TV. And I don't know, it's hard to be productive during a crisis, a global crisis, but also as an artist, like this is what we're there to do, is to give people a lens through which they can experience things like this. But at the same time, like self-preservation kicks in, right? Like some people work well in moments of chaos and some people don't. And I don't really. I don't like chaos. I like routine. I like knowing what my day is going to look like, what my week is going to look like. I'm a very regimented person that way, and my writing process is also kind of regimented. I like doing a little bit every day, and I like knowing which days of the week I'm going to be writing, which like now is just, it's all of that is gone. So I found it really kind of difficult to work on the novel. I'm hoping that once I'm done grading and once the semester's done, so our class has just ended, grades are due in a week. And after that, I hope that I'm going to be able to start writing, to start working on the novel. But because I haven't been able to do that kind of regimented writing, which I need to work on a longer piece like a novel, I've been doing smaller stuff. So I had an essay accepted recently into a journal, so I've been doing edits on that. I've been recently getting into poetry, so I've never in my life taken a poetry class. This is weird because I'm an English professor, but I've never taken a poetry workshop. I've taken like literature classes, but that's not the same. And I don't know why. When I was an undergrad, I wrote a bunch of poems, and then I just sort of stopped. And I took a bunch of fiction workshops, a bunch of nonfiction workshops, and I never really took the time to learn how to write poetry. But I'm married to a poet, so that's my project this summer. We were supposed to go to Europe and do this like 5-week Europe trip. And I was going to write poetry throughout. And now all of that's gone. We're no longer going to Europe. So I'm just trying to wet my feet, and my partner is running a poetry workshop for me. So basically like a grad student tutorial, and we're talking about poetry, and he's giving me assignments a little bit, and I'm, reading and writing, and that's been really helpful. And I feel like poetry is just, it's a totally different method to how I normally work. I'm normally working on long, like big novel type projects or big collection type projects. And poetry is just totally different. The editing process, the revision process, the drafting process, all of it's different, which is a good match, I think, for this unpredictable time where it feels like the world is burning. And poetry, I don't know. I've been talking also to writing friends about the fact that it's weird to write right now. It's weird to write fiction or nonfiction, like prose right now. It's weird to write scenes without acknowledging this global pandemic that's happening. Because if you're setting a novel or a story in the present moment, then do you acknowledge COVID, or do you not? Do you like pretend like COVID was never happening? Because this is like a huge milestone for everyone, like for the entire world. It's your fiction in the future can't escape this time period. So I don't know, there's that question of like, how do you deal with COVID in your fiction? Thankfully for me, my stuff's set in 2004, so I don't have to worry about COVID. But it's something that I've been thinking about, and I think poetry allows a faster turnaround time because it takes a shorter amount of time to write a poem. You can respond to things faster. So like my friends that read for literary journals have said that they've gotten so many COVID poems already, like, which means that people wrote them and sent them in like within 2 weeks. And, they've been reading these poems. I've heard that most of them are bad, like terrible, about just like, sort of self-centered poetry about running out of toilet paper or not being able to go to Starbucks and stuff. Yeah.
One of my board members said to me a week or two ago, and an exact quote, "I wonder how much bad art is going to come out of this."
I'm gonna say a lot. I'm sure that it's great for certain types of writers, like for romance writers. This is wonderful. Like COVID time, you and your roommate are stuck together and you're quarantined, and it's like, all these like these romance plots are so well fitted for quarantine. Maybe even like, I don't know, police dramas or detective mysteries, and even like the existential, like literary fiction might be well suited for this. So like there are certain people that are gonna really, I don't know if they're gonna produce good stuff. I hope so. I think it takes a while though. Like it took a while, quite a while after 9/11 to have a good 9/11 novel, right? It took quite a while after the tsunami in 2004 happened to have a good tsunami novel or a good tsunami film. And I think like for good art to happen, it takes a while to process and sort of mulch in your system before you're able to contextualize it and really be able to give readers a lens through which to view this crisis. So I don't know, maybe in 5 years we'll have a really good COVID novel. I doubt it's going to happen next year though.
Like anything written right now is basically therapy.
Yes. Yeah. Writing is great therapy, but writing as therapy is not always good art. It's usually bad art. So there's that, like.
Maybe we'll have a bad COVID literary evening. Read your worst, I don't know. Sounds like something we'd do.
I did like your, I think you did like a Harry Potter erotica reading at some point.
No, we did. I don't think we did. Did we? Wait, did we? No,
I don't know.
We didn't. There was one. Something.
There was like a Harry Potter fan fiction reading, I thought. Maybe it wasn't Wordier Than Thou. Maybe it was somewhere.
No, we did a pub crawl. We did a Harry Potter pub crawl, and we asked people to read work inspired by it. I was very drunk on that pub crawl, and I don't really recall most of what was read, but I think we got a mix of like weird true stories, and then there might have been some erotic in there. It wouldn't shock me or surprise me. But so are you saying you want to see like a COVID-19 erotica event?
No. No. I'm sure it would be popular, but I personally, no. I don't want to see it. No. I did hear about this Harry Potter event, like, because I missed the pub crawl, and I heard that there was erotica read from people who went, which is why I thought it was all just Harry Potter erotica, which would have been hilarious.
Or maybe it's somebody else and it was just all Harry Potter erotica, but now I'm confused. But it sounds like something that probably fell under one of our events at some point, and we were just drunk because it was a pub crawl. So you know how we do.
I know this wine glass looks very large. It is. But this is just what it is. It's COVID times.
There's no rules. And
I never notice until I look at it on the screen.
I was going to ask what you can tell us about your second novel, Blue Skin Gods. I think when we last met up right before you moved, and we had that like informal group, I think you'd either just gotten edits or were waiting on edits for you to make, or I can't remember.
No, I think it was out to publishers at that time, because so it sold a little bit after I saw you. So it sold to Soho, which is the press that did my first novel, and I'm still waiting on edits. So it's not coming out until, I think now it's like fall of 2021. It was supposed to be early summer, but because of COVID, publishing industry is also responding to this. Right. And New York is hit hard, and most of the publishing industry is sort of centered in New York. So their response to it was everyone is now working from home and they're adjusting and all of this stuff. So a lot of books got pushed back. And so mine got pushed to, I think, fall of 2021. So I still have quite a while. So I'm waiting on I'm waiting on edits, and what I do know is that they're gonna cut it because it's really long. It's like 106,000 words right now, which I didn't think it would ever get to. I am like, my early drafts were swimming at around like 60,000 words. And somehow everything got just like, as I injected more and more things into it, everything got really big. So they bought it at 106,000, but I was told that they're going to do a lot of trimming. So I'm preparing myself for that. Yeah, I don't know. I've never had to cut stuff. My novels always come out like shorter than they should be. So it's always me trying to like put stuff in. And I've never really had to cut stuff. So I don't know. We'll see.
I'm going to stop recording right here and just let anybody jump in if they have questions.